Hi, I'm Gary Sutton, and I'm with John LeBoutillier, former congressman from New York, now national political commentator. And John, we're all ready for Super Tuesday. 15 different jurisdictions are going to be up there for a primary vote. 40% of our population in the country is kind of represented. 34% of all pledged delegates. Super Tuesday is probably a good name for it, and we're going to find out if Joe Biden still has any pulling power after the win in South Carolina. And what about Bernie Sanders? Is he on the move to get the nomination, or is the waters going to get muddied? What's your take on that? Good morning, John.
Good morning, Gary. Yeah, I don't know. I think he does, Biden, have momentum coming out of South Carolina, mainly because of the African-American vote, which is now going to be visible in most of the southern and western states, which they hadn't been, obviously, in Iowa or New Hampshire.
Right.
So I think that's going to be good for Biden. Mayor Pete dropping out helps Biden a little bit. Amy Klobuchar's got to go pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the biggie after tomorrow will be Mayor Bloomberg. As we're heading towards a one-on-one race, Sanders versus Biden, with the Democratic Party establishment apoplectic about Sanders at the top of the ticket in November, they're all going to rally, I believe, to Biden.
We saw Steyer drop away.
Steyer dropped out, and they rallied to him, Biden, in South Carolina.
Right.
I think that's going to happen nationally now.
Now, Buttigieg dropping out, one of the other so-called moderate candidates. I'm not sure if that moniker fits totally, but he drops away. Now you have Biden supposedly carrying that mantle. But as you mentioned, Bloomberg, who really kind of changed the rules on this whole thing, and many would say is trying to buy the election. We're going to find out how much staying power he has, because he has really got well-oiled organizations in all these states. And yet at the same time, are people going to rally to him, a New York billionaire, in the Democratic Party? That's going to be the big question, right?
Yeah, well, that's one of them. I mean, also, all the money and ads, and they're good ads, and everything his campaign's done is done well. The weakness is the candidate himself.
That's right.
He's a bad candidate, bad in the debates, bad in public. I don't think all the money in the world can make up for that. I think the reverse works. You don't have to have that much money if you have a good message and you're a good candidate. Look at Mayor Pete. You know, this guy was a very good candidate and did very well for a year with no money.
Right.
And then he was able to raise some. And, he did pretty well. He won Iowa, got second in New Hampshire. He's 38 years old. It was pretty good.
Right.
And Bloomberg is just the opposite. He's got every advantage, except he's just a weak candidate. And I don't think he lasts. He can last forever financially, of course. But after tomorrow, I think he's going to look at this thing and say, I can't win the nomination.
Right.
Even if I can stop Sanders from getting to 1,991 delegates and get to the convention, the superdelegates, I don't think they're going to go for Bloomberg. I think they're going to go for Biden. He's the Democrat in the race. Right. Sanders is an independent. Bloomberg's a former Republican. Biden is the guy that they've come back to. It's been quite a comeback for Joe Biden.
Yeah, it has been. And again, he doubled up on everybody in South Carolina. He said that was his firewall. That was a state, and it proved to be. And the only question now is, does that carry over? And then the other part, and that you're hearing a little bit, is former President Obama now going to step in and say, here's my guy, Joe Biden? Because it looked kind of like it was Pete Buttigieg, but he's gone now. And here's Biden, and Biden kind of waiting for the endorsement, I think, of the former president, which would help him, especially in the African-American community, one would think, right?
You would think it would help him in every Democratic community.
Yes.
He's the most popular Democrat. So, but I never thought he was going to endorse in the primaries at all. Presidents don't do that, Trump aside. Normally you stay neutral. When a choice is made by the local or the national party, then you get on board. However, this might be different. If it ends up as Biden versus Sanders in the next few weeks,
right,
that's one Democrat versus one independent, and the independent being Bernie, who openly speculated about running against Obama in 2012. I got to think there'd be heavy party pressure on Obama to come in here and help Biden forestall Sanders, because the Democrats believe Sanders at the top of the ticket will lose to Trump, might lose the House and they won't win the Senate. Whereas Biden at the top of the ticket, they could win everything with Biden. And
John,
so I think there'll be heavy pressure on Obama to do nationally what Jim Clyburn did in South Carolina, which really boosted Biden.
John, I'm going to look forward to talking to you next week when we have this in our rearview mirror, and we'll have a little bit more of an idea, maybe, of who the main candidate's going to be. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. Always appreciate it, my friend.
Me too, Gary. Thanks. Talk to you next week.
John LeBoutillier here on WSBA, and I hope you listen to WSBA Morning News with Gary Sutton, 6 to 9 weekdays on News Talk 93.9 and 910 WSBA.